Hi everybody, welcome to your 7-week Pilates challenge. Pilates is a method of body conditioning, of stretching and strengthening exercises developed over 90 years ago by Joseph Pilates. The 34 original Pilates moves are a corrective series of exercises. They require our full attention. Here we're going to learn how to access our core muscles, to properly strengthen and control our movements before subjecting our bodies to the rigors of daily living, whether it's seated at a desk, a lot of driving, or lugging heavy objects around. We're training quality over quantity. As our classes progress, we'll build each move from its beginner to advanced form, and from 3 to 4 reps to a maximum of 10 reps. You'll quickly find that when exercises are executed properly, with proper form, 10 reps is a big achievement. We're reframing the way that we think about exercise and how we treat our bodies. You can do a really good workout in 20 minutes if you're fully focused, versus an hour of doing things where you're fumbling in the dark. Be patient and open with your approach. The principles will sink in with each class. The important thing is to show up and move. If something doesn't feel right, stop. Go back and look over day 1 or a previous day in the challenge to refresh your setup. Things to look out for. If you feel numbness, tingling, itching, sharp shooting pain, then stop immediately. This could be a sign of a nerve being under pressure, possibly due to posture, incorrect muscle firing, or an old injury. You'll notice that at the end of every class each day, we highlight an exercise. So we'll be going into more detail with the exercise and how it progresses or how to modify that exercise. Make sure to look at these videos and go back over exercises that you need to give a little more attention to. So thank you and well done for starting. When you're ready, join me on your mat. The size of 2 fists between your feet for your own personal hip distance, and between your knees with parallel feet ensures that the second toe traces through the middle of the kneecap and up into your hips. You want your own shoe size from heels to glutes, so a little bit bigger than your foot, to make sure your heels aren't too far away. So your hip distances and your shoe size. Now we're going to look at our pelvis position. Feel your back rolling into the mat and arching the back. Feel the difference between these two positions and how it affects your spine. We're going to employ the Pilates compass. I'm going to show you how to use this technique. You want your thumbs and your index fingers together to create a diamond shape. Find the center of your 2 pelvic tilts for a neutral pelvis position, a very gentle natural curve in the lower back. Take your hands onto your rib cage. We want to make sure the ribs don't flare off the mat. So we want gentle curves throughout the spine. We don't want our back to leave the mat. Think about the lower ribs staying down. Inhale and open the ribs out. Exhale and draw the ribs in and down. Breathe in through your nose. Feel the rib cage expanding out to the sides. And as you exhale, draw the ribs together. So let's look from another angle. See my tailbone tucking and sticking up. Imagine your pelvis like a bowl of water, spilling water out of the back of the bowl, out of the front of the bowl, and you want to find that area where the water stops spilling, that alignment. Now think about the rib cage again. Inhale and open the ribs out to the sides. Exhale, draw the ribs in and down. Inhale, lateral breath. Exhale, knit the ribs together towards your hip bones. Inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Feel free to pause the video, go back and have a look at your rib cage and your pelvis setup again. Otherwise, here's our setup. Hip distance between the feet and the knees, shoe size heels to glutes, roll your back onto the mat, check in with your pelvic tilts, check in with your rib cage placement, check in with your rib cage breathing, and then hands by the sides. Shoulders back without flaring the rib cage, so keep the lower ribs down. Open up across the collarbones. Check in with your chin position, so we don't want a chin poke, just a gentle chin nod. reaching in one direction through the crown of the head and reaching the other direction through your tailbone and your feet. Feel that length through your spine. Look at our shoulders. Come cross-legged, reach in front, separate the shoulder blades, draw the shoulder blades together, stretching forwards, squeezing the shoulder blades together, and find the center of these two positions when you're ready. Feel your shoulders draw up to your ears and then draw down. Put your brain into your armpit, so draw down using the armpit muscles. So let's get a really solid foundation. Hip distance, feet and knees, shoe size, heels to glutes. Roll your back down onto the mat. Check in with your pelvis position. Check in with your rib cage position and breathing. Hands by the sides, shoulders back, lower ribs down, gentle chin nod. Feel your pelvic floor like you're holding in wind, stopping yourself going to the toilet. Scoop your belly, drawing up along your back, and knit your ribs together. This helps us to keep our spine in place, that neutral spine. So pelvic floor, abs, ribs. This core work will help to keep the spine in place while you move the legs and the arms. So keep your lower ribs down whenever you reach your arms. So pelvic floor, abs, ribs, and I'll show you tabletop. So gentle pelvic floor, scoop the belly, knit the ribs. Knee above your hip. You don't want the foot too high or too low. You want a 90-degree angle. Let's try on the second side. Scoop through the core, knit the ribs, and lift the weight of the second leg. Knee above the hip. Both legs can come into tabletop. Knees and ankles together, 90-degree angle. Use that same core work to lift head, neck and shoulders into ab prep. You should just see your big toes wiggling above your knees for that 90-degree angle. You can lower your shoulders down or support your head at any time during any exercise. Let's look at some options for the 100, our first exercise. Reach your arms across the room, scoop through the core, lifting head, neck and shoulders. Pump from the arms, keep the spine still. You have space for an imaginary peach underneath your chin, a gentle chin nod, strength coming from the ab work without cramming your lower back into the mat. This is option 1 with the feet down. Option 2, lower your shoulders, scoop through your core to lift into tabletop. One leg at a time using the ab work, knees and ankles together. Make sure it's a 90-degree angle behind the knees and pump from the armpits as you reach across the room, keeping the rest of the body as still as possible, using your core control. You can choose either version of the 100 for your first exercise. Let's look at number 2. This is C-curve. You move your heels further away from your bum for C-curve and sit up nice and tall with your hands behind your knees. Feel an extension, feel a rounding, and find the center. Access pelvic floor, abs, and ribs from this position. Check your shoulders from this position. Get used to checking in with the midline in every exercise. So think about your heels and gently draw them towards you, feeling the lower abs start to connect. When you're ready, use your breathing, pelvic floor, abs, ribs. Find that center line. C-curve, you want to be tall. Gently tuck the tailbone, draw back through the belly button. See the difference here? Scoop in, draw the ribs together, draw the belly button through the spine, as opposed to just creating a C shape in the back, but not necessarily feeling that connection. Draw your heels towards you, scoop through the core and come forward. Inhale nice and tall through the crown of the head without losing the ribcage connection. So, scoop through the core. Inhale. Exhale, scoop and come forward. Inhale nice and tall as if there's a wall behind you. Exhale, scoop and knit the ribs together. Inhale. Exhale, scoop and come forward. Inhale, roll and stack. We want length out of every exercise. Each repetition is another possibility to find more length and strength, all from the center first. So, when you're ready, exercise number 3, roll onto the mat. This is our rollover prep. This is going to help us with 4 other exercises in our full sequence. Scoop through the core, nice and strong with good alignment, and lift into tabletop position. Knees and ankles together, tie them together, keep that midline connection and that 90-degree angle to start. So you're going to roll into imprint and then back to neutral. Imprint and neutral, keeping your knees still. So just feel that pelvic work for now. Imprint, then bring the knees towards you. Lower the knees away and then back to neutral. Feel that gentle core work. Imprint, knees towards you. Knees away from you, feel the stretch, and then gently release to neutral. Imprint, knees towards you, knees away, feel the abs, and then release to neutral. So imprint and neutral. Movements are small and precise. They're all going to build, so get a really solid foundation. And again, this will turn into 4 other bigger exercises. So moving on, lower the left foot, stretch the right leg. The knee can be bent, there's no pressure to straighten the leg fully. But if the knee is bent or straight, you want to feel a stretch in the back of the leg, so reach through the toes. Gentle pressure into your anchored foot to feel feedback through the body. Make sure you stay neutral, so we don't want to peel the tailbone. Just gentle with that bottom leg, and you're still aware of your neutral spine. Stretch the arms out in 2 different directions, grab the floor, elbows down, shoulders down. Gently start to circle with the top leg, reaching through the ankle, keeping the spine nice and still. Keep breathing, lower ribs down and swap direction. Keep stretching your arms apart in 2 different directions. Reach for the sky so your attention is in the ankle. When you're ready, we're going to swap sides. Gentle pressure down and reach up. Neutral spine, choose a bent knee or a straight leg, whichever suits you. Reach through your toes, ankle, knee and hip. Make sure you're not peeling your tailbone. Get that neutral pelvis position and use your core work. Reach the arms out, shoulders back. Small circles. Keep the circles small for now. Keep the spine stable while you circle, so keep the hips down. Gentle circles, gently pressing into the leg that's helping you to stabilize, and swap direction. Keep reaching through the ankle so you relax the foot and the hip. Put your brain into your ankle and stretch up towards the ceiling. Gentle circles. When you're ready, just roll it forward. For Pilates, you want a thick mat, especially for this next exercise. You could have a few mats on top of each other, or you could have a thick Pilates mat. We're going to do our C-curve again. Remember, belly button through the spine, keep that connection. You want length in the front and the back of the body. This is going to help us with rolling like a ball. Scoop through the core, nip the ribs, lift into a floating tabletop, knees and ankles together, hands behind the knees. Not too much pressure. Relax your shoulders, gentle opening through the chest, scooping through the core. Inhale to the shoulder blades, exhale, scoop your belly. You don't want your feet to touch the floor, so draw your belly button through the spine. That's going to be like you're sticking the brakes on to keep your legs floating. Inhale back to the shoulder blades, exhale, scoop and pause. Inhale and exhale. If 1 or 2 of them go a little bit wobbly, just try again. Inhale and scoop, exhale, lengthen the front and the back, and then we can let it go. So we're on to our next exercise. Just get your alignment again, get your connection, scoop through the core, knit the ribs, and we're into single leg stretch. Tabletop position, nice neutral spine, and whenever you're ready, you exhale to stretch one leg, inhale 90 degrees. Exhale, stretch the second leg, inhale 90 degrees. Exhale, scoop the belly, inhale, bend. Exhale, scoop through the core, inhale to the ribs. Exhale, scoop and reach, inhale, bend. And we're on to double leg straight stretch. Inhale, reach both legs, exhale to bend. Inhale, stretch, exhale to bend. So the breathing swaps. Inhale, stretch through the ankles and knees. Exhale, scoop through the core. So now we prep our next exercise, single leg straight stretch with a hamstring stretch. Hands above or below the knee, just not at the back of the knee. Keep your tailbone on the ground, so we don't want our tailbone to lift. There's no pressure to straighten the leg, so do the version that suits you. Reach through your toes, ankles, knees and hips. Just relax into it, breathe deeply, reaching, and whenever you're ready you can swap it over. Again, hands above or below the knee, just not at the back of the knee. Stretch through the ankle, knee and hip. Keep the tailbone down so we're not peeling off the ground, and get that big stretch through the hamstring without forcing the knee. So do bend the knee if you need to. Keep breathing deeply into the belly and exhaling to let it go, and just allow that stretch through the body. When you're ready, we're prepping double leg straight stretch. So scoop through the core and lift into tabletop. Anytime you need a break, please take one. Stretch your legs, bend at the ankles and push through the heels. Center yourself, keeping the tailbone on the mat, and come into ab prep. Support your head. If you'd prefer to keep your head on the ground, that's totally fine. Ab prep with your gentle chin nod, hands behind the head. Scoop through your core and gently lower so your back does not arch. If your back arches, you've gone too far. See how I bend the feet on the way down and then point the toes on the way up, changing the line of pull through my ankles, knees and hips. If it's not possible to straighten the legs, you can still do this exercise as long as your pelvis stays still, so we're not overarching the back as the legs lower. So you can keep an eye on it and make it smaller. Our next exercise is a crisscross prep. You can lower your shoulders, just watch your chin position, that imaginary peach under the chin, and scoop your core to do the work here. Elbows are wide so you find the floor easily either side. If your elbows are too close, you'll notice your hips wobble to find the floor. So relax that out of your neck and your chest. Elbows are nice and wide so the chest is open and you don't have very far to travel to find the floor either side. Scoop your core. Keep the feet down, gentle pressure, and exhale. Inhale, center. Exhale to turn. Inhale, center. Exhale, hips are steady. Exhale and inhale to center. So, lower it down and relax the shoulders. The second half of crisscross is with the lower body in tabletop position, and we repeat single leg stretch, that prep exercise we've done already. Exhale up to the ceiling. Inhale to 90 degrees. Second side, inhale 90 degrees. When you're ready, roll forward. Your heels are further away from your bum and you sit up nice and tall, checking in with your shoulder position. Draw down gently using the armpits. Sit nice and tall, elongate the neck, get your brain into your core work, pelvic floor, abs, ribs. We don't want to squeeze and round or flare, so find that center position. When you're ready, stretch the neck, stretch through the arms, the mid-back, the lower back. Inhale, reach a bit further. Exhale, scoop, lower abs, middle, knit the ribs together and draw the armpits in and down. So find your alignment. Inhale. Exhale, chin in, reach through the hands, stretch the back, upper, middle, lower. Inhale, reach. Exhale, scoop and roll it back up and unstick your chin. Inhale. Exhale, use your core. Reach, inhale. Exhale from the lower abs up to the ribs and draw the armpits down. So that's how we're going to practice and build on our spine stretch. Bring your bum a bit further towards your heels. Scoop through the core for your C curve. Remember, front and back of the spine are nice and supported. Belly button through the spine and lift into floating tabletop. Inhale, shoulder blades. Exhale, scoop through the core. Inhale and exhale, switch on the brakes. Inhale to the shoulder blades. Exhale, use your core to pause. This will become open leg rocker later, but here's our foundation. It's our rolling like a ball. So let's flow into our rollover prep. So you have a 90-degree angle behind the knees. Lower your shoulders down, knees above your hips. And like earlier when we did our rollover prep, you're drawing into imprint and then back to neutral. That control comes from the center, so you're not kicking the weight of the legs around. So that's enough practice of that repeated exercise. Come forward when you're ready. We're moving on to saw. Your legs can be straight, but they can also bend, so you can modify if it doesn't suit you for your back to have straight legs. choose your position with the lower body and then set up your shoulder position. Scoop through the core, connecting to your midline. Open the arms nice and wide. Feel the stretch across your chest. Soften your shoulders, open up the chest, and palms face forward. Inhale nice and tall. Exhale, connect to your center and twist. We're going to bring our chest towards our knee. So it's not about getting the head down towards the knee. You can keep your head nice and tall. Think about a hinge this time. With spine stretch, we've already rounded, so we're trying to balance our bodies. You want both hips to stay glued to the ground. This can be done with the knees bent or the legs straight. You can saw the outside of your knee, your ankle, or your little toes. It doesn't have to be the full way towards your toes, so let it build as the days go on. Remember again, this is an introduction to each exercise. So we'll build the reps as the days go on. Let's get our foundation. Whenever you're ready, you can relax the front of your hips if needs be, and take your time. You can bring your legs to the left, or you can cross your ankles over and roll through if that's okay for your hips. We're all making our way down onto our bellies. This begins our prone section. Again, it's about balancing the body, so we need a little bit of extension. We're not going to focus on back bends, we're still focusing on that core connection. We'll let it build as time goes on. We don't want to cram the elbows in by the rib cage. We don't want to lift the elbows off the floor. Spread your fingers, have the elbows by your sides, and relax the back of your neck so you're reaching forward through the crown of the head. Make sure you're not poking your chin out, so there's no pinched skin in the back of the neck. You're looking straight down. Reach back through the legs. Gently tuck the tailbone so there's a bit of space underneath the belly button. Press into the front of the legs. Keep your brain in your legs and keep that tuck. So again, our brain picks up the core work in this exercise. Reach through the legs, tuck the tailbone, reach through the head, so we're reaching in two different directions. Inhale gently to lift the upper body without pushing the belly into the mat, so you want to keep that tuck of the tailbone. Exhale, lower and the legs lift. Keep the movement tiny. We don't want to push into the lower back, so stretch. Tuck the tailbone, the whole body's involved. Inhale, upper body. Exhale, lower body. Inhale, upper body. Exhale, lower body. See how small this is? Let's get really good technique and let it build, because it will get bigger later. Inhale, reach through the crown of the head. Exhale, someone's pulling the ankles back behind you. So, relax out of that. Second exercise, head rests in your hands and your shoulders relax down. Reach through your toes, ankles, knees and hips. Tuck your tailbone, scoop your belly, knit your ribs, bend your right foot, kick. Keep that tuck of the tailbone, so when we kick we have control. Push gently into the front of the opposite leg. Second side, bend the foot, kick, 2, 3, inhale, stretch. Keep that tuck of the tailbone so we have more control and we're stable. We don't want this kicking back and forth through the whole body. Scoop through the core, nice and stable, kick, 2, 3, and inhale. So it becomes a little bit of rehab for our quads, the front of the leg. Kick, 2, 3, and inhale. Exhale, 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 and inhale. Moving on to our third exercise, both legs together, bending the feet, kick, 2, 3, point your toes and reach. Keep the tuck of the tailbone, kick, 2, 3, and reach. See the difference between those two reps that I just demonstrated? Front of the legs are strong, and inhale to stretch. See how the core is involved? It's almost like you're trying to get your belly button away from a thumbtack. Kick, 2, 3, and inhale. There's a lot to focus on in every exercise, so take your time. Press onto all fours, bring your legs to one side or cross your ankles and come through, helping to build our flow, but whatever suits you. Your heels are far away from your bum and you sit up nice and tall. Later on we're going to build on this exercise, but for now we keep it at C-curve. You'll notice we repeat exercises to get a really good foundation. Get your brain into your core work, pelvic floor, abs, ribs, midline connection, the scoop. We don't want that separation, so draw the belly button through the spine. We're long in the front and the back of the body. Use your core work Scoop and exhale, come forward. Inhale nice and tall through the entire spine and the top of the head. Inhale, exhale, C curve. Inhale, exhale, come forward. Inhale, roll and stack. It's just a practice exercise now, as later on it will become neck pull. So you'll notice some areas advance, but you can repeat these foundation ones for as long as you like, as long as it suits your body, and only build when you're ready. I'll continue to give you the options when we learn the bigger options. When you're ready, roll your back down onto the mat. We're going to repeat a hamstring stretch. Just relax your legs and take your time. So, one leg is down, the other leg is stretching. We've done this already. Keep your tailbone down. Keep the spine nice and neutral, ribs together. You can have your hands above or below the knee, just not at the back of the knee, and stretch up to the ceiling, reaching through your toes, ankle, knee, and hip. Make sure that it suits your knee, so modify with the knee bend if you need to. Swap sides. Later on, we'll hold this for longer with a little more direction. Again, for now, we're getting used to all the exercises in their sequence. The sequence matters, and you'll know the sequence inside out by the end of this challenge. Come out of this exercise when you're ready. We're just going to double check our setup. Hip distance, feet and knees. Shoe size, heels to glutes, like the start of the class. Roll your back down onto the mat. Check in with your pelvis and your rib cage, hands by the sides, shoulders back, get that alignment. So we're going to reach our knees across the room, press into the feet and focus on the pelvis. So we're going to do a pelvic tilt into imprint. Peel the tailbone, one vertebra at a time, lower back, mid back, upper back. Reach your knees across the room, and we want to stabilize and neutralize at this diagonal, so we don't want to arch the back. Rolling down one vertebra at a time, like a chain of beads, one bead at a time. My hand is out of the way here just so you can see my spine, but both of your hands can be by your sides. See how I roll through my back like a bicycle chain. We don't want to come too high, so gently rolling down. Reach your knees across the room throughout the exercise. Inhale, exhale, push down into the feet, reach the knees and articulate through the vertebrae. Gentle tug of your tailbone, breathe into the ribs, exhale to melt down one link at a time. This exercise builds into a lot of glute work, so it's important to take some time prepping the body, creating space in the spine, creating our awareness with alignment, because later on there's add-ons to all of the exercise we've looked at so far, and this one again particularly good for our glute work later on in our challenge. Come forward when you're ready. Cross your ankles over and sit proud and tall. Feel the alignment and strength through the center line of the body. Check your shoulders. Zip up. Get your brain into pelvic floor, abs and ribs. Open the arms out. Soften the shoulders. Fingers together. Don't worry about the thumbs. Inhale tall, push into the side of your feet, stabilize your pelvis, and when you're ready we exhale to one side, keeping the chest open. So we want that openness across our collarbones. You can bend the elbows, that might help you if space is an issue. It also takes a little weight out of the shoulders. Keep that core focus. You could put your fingers on your shoulders, again less weight on the shoulders, and also helps you to keep the chest open. The movement is from the center of the body, like you're wringing out a dishcloth. So relax your shoulders, keep your chest open, sit tall and really focus on the middle of the body. You could make a gun position. Your thumbs are on your breastbone, fingers are on your chin. This helps to keep the head, neck and shoulders in the right position and your focus on your core. So there's lots of options there. Pause and go back over them. Choose the one that suits your head, neck and shoulders for the next few days, while we build our knowledge with the sequence, our options and what feels right for us. Relax it out of your shoulders anytime you need after any of the exercises. Nice big circles in both directions. Open and close the chest and the shoulder blades, and just relax it out. This does all build up to help free up our bodies. So check your setup. We're going to repeat rollover prep. Later on, this becomes a bigger exercise called jackknife. It's quite advanced, so we want to make sure that we repeat the foundation exercises for as long as we need to have a really strong foundation to protect our bodies. Remember our rollover prep? We've done it twice now. So we inhale to roll the pelvis towards us and bring the knees. Exhale, the knees go forward and then you go back to neutral. So feel the core really in charge of this exercise, like it is with all of the exercises. But it's nice to check in because there's so much feedback through the spine and through our setup when we lie in this supine position. When you're ready, come into a side lying position. I'm on my left hand side to start today. Gentle bend in the bottom knee, press into ankle, knee, hip and anchor yourself to the mat. You can lower the upper body down if that suits your neck. You could cradle your head in a bent elbow, or you can support your head, whichever one is most comfortable. With the top leg, reach through toes, ankle, knee and hip, so really reach across the room. Take your hand onto your hip for feedback or in front for balance. Turning your knee in and out, internally rotating the hip, externally rotating the hip. Feel this nice movement in the ball and socket joint. If you can, turn your knee up to the ceiling. It's going to help you get into your glutes and your inner thigh, but if it's uncomfortable, you can stay parallel. Hike your hip up towards your ribs and then relax the hand in front. Inhale up to the ceiling and exhale, you lower down, pushing through the heel. See how we point the foot on the way up and then bend the foot on the way down, again changing the line of pull through the leg. Inhale and reach up to the ceiling. Exhale, push through the heel and press down against resistance. We need to use our imagination and get your mind really involved in all the body movements. Relax it out. We're swapping sides whenever you're ready, so you can take your time. Second side, gentle bend in the bottom knee. Choose your upper body position, whichever position suits you best. And you're going to press into the ankle, knee and hip, so you're anchored to the ground. Reach through the top leg, pushing through that length, toes, ankle, knee and hip. Wake up the ball and socket joint, so get your brain to really perceive this area. And then we externally rotate the hip or parallel if that suits you better, so you don't have to force an external rotation. Whenever you're ready, our glutes are engaged and we inhale up, exhale down. Inhale, point on the way up. Exhale, bend the foot on the way down. Inhale, point and reach. Exhale, push through the heel. Find some freedom in this exercise. Inhale. Imagine your ankle attached to a spring and pull down. Inhale, someone's pulling your toes up to the sky. Exhale, press your heel down through resistance. Relax it out. We have 3 more exercises to learn on both sides, but for now that's our introduction. Hip distance, feet and knees. Shoe size, heels to glutes. Roll your back down onto the mat. Check in with your setup. Pelvis, your rib cage. Hands by the sides, shoulders back, gentle chin nod. For this exercise to be a lot easier, you move your feet really far away from your bum and zip up through your core. Instead of neutral, we push into imprint. We're going to train our teaser. Teaser is quite big, so here we are training it from a very small form. It's still a super challenging exercise. Exhale forward. Come a little bit higher than your ab prep because later we roll through. So start again. Inhale, exhale, scoop and roll forward. We come a little higher than ab prep, so you take your shoulder blades off the mat. Inhale and exhale. Exhale, use your core to come forward. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, scoop and come forward. Inhale and exhale. Take as many breaths as you like. Go as slowly as you like. Nice and controlled. When you're ready, you can come forward. Teaser flows into hip circles, 2 very advanced exercises. So again, we're still building them up from their foundation. Hands behind your back, spread the fingers out. They're reaching out and back at a diagonal. Keep your chest open, breastbone facing forward. Avoid letting the shoulders collapse like this. You can modify this exercise by coming down onto the elbows instead of being on full straight arms. But we want to make sure that our pelvis is in the right position So we don't want our shoulders to collapse, our chest to get short. You keep the chest nice and open, and then scoop through your core and knit your ribs. So we don't need everything to move together, a full extension and a full flexion. You can keep the chest and upper back extended and open while you're tucking the tailbone under. So feel that, and then choose your upper body position. We will be going over this a lot. So again, today is our introduction. We go from side to side while keeping the breastbone forward, so avoiding again the shoulders moving like I've shown you before and again just now. So from one side to the other, trying to get that rotation through the spine while keeping the chest and shoulders open and still. At the front of the body, the breastbone is reaching forward, nice and proud, and we're just introducing that rotation. So relax it out. Some of us are going to need to relax the hip flexors, so take time, a little bit of blood flow, and create a bit of slack in the front of the hips. So this isn't one of your moves, but it just helps our bodies to prep for the full sequence. You can go to one side with your legs, or you can cross your ankles over and come through. We're into swimming. So reach the arms forward, legs back behind you, reach through toes, ankles, knees and hips, not too far apart, so hip distance or a little bit closer. Tuck your tailbone, push into the front of the legs. Tailbone is tucking down towards your heels, so our brain can pick up the core work again. Shoulders are away from your ears and the back of the neck is nice and open, so there's no pinched skin, and you're reaching forward through the crown of the head, reaching back through the legs and the tailbone. Opposite arm, opposite leg. Opposite arm, opposite leg. Get the coordination for today. Don't worry too much about the exercise being perfect. See how this could come from my back? We want to keep it through the front and the back of the body, a co-contraction. So it's controlled. See how still my spine is, as opposed to the kind of wrong version I just showed you. There's a place for all different types of movement, and nothing is bad per se. We just want to know why we're doing it, and we're building up a Pilates foundation here. So for today, it's just the coordination in that exercise. Take your time. Hip distance between the knees. Knees under the hips, hands under the shoulders, and spread your fingers wide. So swimming flows into plank. Let's set up our plank. Check your head position. So we're not too high or too low. The back of the neck is nice and long. You're reaching forward through the crown of the head. So just make sure that you're aware of your shoulder position here, like when we were seated for C-curve, or like when we're setting it up on the mat. Open and close the shoulder blades, get that feedback through the hands, and find the center. Check your pelvis. Just now we're not lying against the mat. Push into the front of the feet, scoop through the core, so bring your brain into your pelvic floor, abs and ribs. The rib cage drawing in and down will help you to keep your spine in the right position. Scoop through the core and get nice and strong. Soften the elbows, and whenever you're ready, we're going to start by bringing the left leg back behind us. Push down into the leg, feel it in your bum and your belly, and just gently go to lift the opposite leg. Feel the weight distributing down the body, so it relaxes our wrists. Put your brain down the body into the legs. That's going to help you later with your plank. Plank turns into leg pull front, leg pull back, and push-ups. So let's get a really good plank foundation, something that feels good in our wrists. We recondition the firing sequence of the body to bring it back into our core work, into the legs and away from the shoulders. Relax your shoulders, pause the video anytime you like, and then whenever you're ready, you can go to one side, or you can cross your ankles over and come through. Eventually this turns into reverse plank and leg pull front. For now, we're doing a little prep called tendon stretch. Your fingers can point out to the sides or in towards your hips. We just avoid pointing the hands behind us for this one. Chest is open, soften the elbows, scoop through the core, knit the ribs. Push down into your feet, keeping the spine nice and aligned. So think about pushing into the feet and lifting your pubic bone up to the sky. Push into your feet so it relaxes your hands, really pressing into the toes and the heels. It engages the legs and the bum. Watch your head position, so it's just a very gentle chin nod. Don't worry if you can't get your hips this high yet, just do your best to open up the front of the body. We're highlighting our stiff areas and starting to correct them, so it's normal that some exercises maybe take longer than others. Go for a little stretch. It's not one of our 34 moves, but it's a nice way to reset the body. We're trying to build the 34 moves in the healthiest way possible. Relax the front of your hips, relax your shoulders. Pause the video anytime you need more time to relax the hips and the shoulders. And whenever you're ready, we're coming to a side kneeling position. Hip distance between the knees. Check your pelvis position. Remember that bowl of water from the start of the class? Stop the water from spilling by finding your neutral spine position. Flaring the rib cage, you get rid of that through the breath work, through the muscle work, and then check your shoulders. So, use the armpits, draw down, never squeezing, just a gentle draw down, because the armpits draw into our rib cage and into our core. Reach in 2 different directions. You're going to load into the right hand and reach through the left leg. Push through the heels. There's very little weight in the hand. Really get the weight out of the hand. The leg doesn't have to be really high, but see how it feels. Push through the heel. Again, very little weight in the hand. Inhale to lower, exhale to lift. Inhale to lower, keep stretching, exhale, lift. So we really stretch across the top of the hip and then exhale to lift. This is just practice. This move gets bigger, but there's your foundation. Optional side bend to relax the side of the body we loaded into. A little strain, counter strain, a little rehab through the body. Second side whenever you're ready. Left hand, right leg. Push through the heel. Get the weight out of the hand. Very little weight in the shoulder. The leg doesn't have to be at its highest, but we build towards that height as the days go on. Inhale and exhale. For some of us, this might cramp the hip a little bit. Take your time with it, but make sure that we embrace the ones that we find hard. Optional side bend and relax it out. This flows into Mermaid, but take your time coming into this position. We're seated with crossed ankles for now. Reach the arms out, zip up through the core. So just a quick reminder of the rib flare, getting your brain into the midline work. Front of the pelvic floor like you're holding in P, back like you're holding in wind. Scoop your belly and knit your ribs. Every exercise is this detailed mind-body connection. A little bit of meditation through movement. So one hand up to the ceiling, anchoring the hips down, and exhale over. Very little weight in the bottom hand, and you choose how far this side bend goes. Never force the rib cage, so whatever suits. Inhale tall and exhale to the second side. Relax your shoulder, keep that nice form through the center. Swap your palms and exhale. There's a lot more detail to come later, so again for now enjoy the introduction to the moves. We have to explain the palm movements later, change our leg position, and go a little bit bigger with the moves. Swap the cross in your ankles. It makes a bit of a difference to your hips. Some of us it'll feel normal, some it'll take some time. Relax your shoulders, zip up through the core, one palm up, other palm down, and it's just gentle, so you never push up with the bottom hand. And we never dump loads of weight down into the bottom hand. Inhale and fly up, float up with the top arm. Exhale over and inhale to the center. Exhale, gentle side bend wherever it suits you. Inhale to the center and relax it out. Take time to relax your shoulders in between any exercise that you feel your body needs this little reset. Whenever you're ready, we're coming to a seated position again. So your heels are a little further away from your glutes than the start of the class, and we set up our shoulders. We're repeating our C-curve setup. It's the foundation of a lot of moves. This is going to help us later when the moves get bigger. Scoop through the core and go into your C-curve. Hands can be behind the knees or they can be in front. Inhale and exhale. Inhale nice and tall. Exhale, scoop through the core, belly button through the spine. Inhale, exhale, scoop and come forward. Inhale, roll and stack, relax your shoulders. How relaxed can you make the movements? So we're not tensing. It's never your full strength. You're never squeezing your belly. It's length up through the top of the head, scoop through the core. So we're making sure that we're never squeezing the belly. Take your time. Make sure you have that core engagement, that length through the front and back of the body, and we turn this into a repeat of rolling like a ball. Inhale and exhale. Inhale to the shoulder blades, exhale, scoop your core and come forward. Don't worry if one or two of these go wrong. You can always pause this video and practice. Inhale to the shoulder blades, exhale, scoop and come forward. Relax it out. Take time with your hips. We're on to our final exercise. So you can go to one side or cross your ankles over and come through. We're building a flow, but still make sure to modify. Hip distance between the knees, knees under the hips, hands under the shoulders. Spread your fingers nice and wide. Check your shoulders, check your neck. It's our plank setup. Check your pelvis position. Press into the front of the feet. Scoop through the core, pelvic floor, abs, ribs. And we lengthen back with our right leg. We did this earlier. Just see the weight distribution. Get your brain into the legs. It's going to protect your wrists later on. So bum and core, inner thighs, zipping up through the core. It takes a while to recondition these firing patterns, mind-body connection. So with your plank, take as long as you need for your body to get used to it. Relax it out of your shoulders. And whenever you're ready, curl your toes under. Walk your hands in towards your feet. Hip distance and parallel. Second toe traces through the middle of the kneecap. Your knees can be bent or your legs can be straight. Relax your head. Let the weight of the head draw down towards the ground. You choose your leg position and then you scoop through the core and roll up. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Just relaxing it out of your shoulders. Thank you so much. That's day 1. It's a lot of information, but well done, and it's going to just feel better and better as the days go on. We're highlighting the 100, move number 1 of 34 in the 34 move sequence. The 100 is a breathing exercise. It's designed to start circulating your blood around your body to warm you up in preparation for all of the exercises that follow. I'll demonstrate modifications and how to build this move from beginner through intermediate to advanced. Imagine that there's a weight on your torso. Use your upper abs feeding into your core work to lift the head, neck and shoulders. Pump the arms with energy, so feel that blood flow increasing. Use the core. Second option is to keep the shoulders down and lift the legs into tabletop position. As you get more advanced, your shoulders can be up or down and you can lengthen the legs at a diagonal. They only go as low as you can maintain a neutral pelvis position. You don't want your shoulders too high. Keep the lower ribs against the mat. So tailbone heavy, lower ribs heavy, and then you choose the angle that your legs lower towards the ground. Feet can be parallel or they can be in a Pilates V shape, heels together, toes apart. That will help you to engage your glutes and your inner thighs, but you can stick with parallel for as long as it takes. As you get more advanced, you might add some footwork on. So we bend with the inhales for 5 breaths and point with the exhales for 5 breaths. Relax with your knees in towards your chest anytime you feel like you've lost your form, and come back only when you're ready. Always check your form. Stability is really important here, so we don't want the rest of the spine to move or the legs to move. You keep your neutral spine, and whether the knees are bent or the legs are straight, you keep the legs nice and still. You're pumping from the armpits, trying to get blood to flow down through the body. Keep your form. Pump and reach across the room. Keep that blood flow from the head down towards the toes. Keep a lot of your attention in the toes throughout this exercise. Mind-body connection. We have to think about our breathing, our core work, our form. If you notice you've lost your form, start again. Check the form, check your rib cage connection, check pelvic floor, abs, ribs. Lower ribs stay down to protect the spine. Zip up, and whenever you're ready to come back, do. But anytime you've lost that connection through your body, it's important to go back to the start. So make sure that you're connected in the right places. Start with level 1. Make sure that you're stable all the time, really focused on the midline. Everything has the right form. You're relaxed. Your breathing gets steady and gets longer as you get more advanced. Draw the heels towards you. You feel your abs connecting. We're always checking in with our form. You can imagine there's a weight on your torso holding you in place. Gentle bend in the elbows can help you to get into the armpit connection. The armpit's drawing down. You'll notice your rotator cuff is stabilizing. Our serratus anterior is working into our obliques to bring us into the upper ab work, so the obliques feeding down and around the sides of our body into the front of our abs. Building slowly to having the shoulders off the ground in ab prep and the legs in tabletop. The legs get longer as you get more stable, and all of these principles come together. You feel strong, there's no pain in your neck, you never push through pain in the neck. And whenever you feel more advanced, you start to lower your legs towards the ground. Adding the footwork on, it can be parallel feet or Pilates V shape, and just let it happen slowly over time. This foundation is really important. It's nice to see where the moves progress to, even if you're not advanced yet. So when you're finished, we're getting ready to flow into the next move. Here's a sneak peek of the next move, and we'll highlight that tomorrow. Thanks everybody. See you tomorrow.